All AFL senior coaches come from somewhere. It's normally a long apprenticeship through local coaching, development or assistant work at an AFL club, and then the interview process, which in itself is incredibly challenging. If you are successful, you get the job, although keeping it is the real challenge. But there are clear correlations between successful coaches and their starting points. The quote, "success breeds success," does seem to apply in coaching at the top level. If you win as an assistant, then it no doubt helps you when you are a senior coach. A lot of the best coaches right now can be traced back to one man. It's the start of a significant coaching web. That man is Alistair Clarkson. He spent 2000 coaching at Werribee, spent a couple years at Central District in the Sandful, before another couple seasons at Port Adelaide as the midfield coach, where he was a part of their 2004 premiership. Then a year later, he took over the rebuilding Hawthorn Football Club. 4 premierships and 4 All-Australian coach selections came of his time at the Hawks, which lasted until 2021. This is where the coaching web begins. Let's start off with the premiership winners. How about Luke Beveridge? After a couple years away from the game, he spent 3 seasons at Hawthorn as an assistant coach. From 2012 and 2014, every year he was there led to at worst a grand final appearance and 2 wins in 2013 and 2014. Previously, he spent a couple years at Collingwood and sits in St Bede's folklore, winning 3 consecutive premierships from C grade all the way to A grade in the mid-2000s. He carried that winning culture instantly to the Bulldogs. The club was cooked at the time, but his clear charisma with his players and connection instantly made them a good team. 2016 happened, and since then, the Bulldogs have been a regular feature in the finals and also played in the 2021 Grand Final. At the time of making this, he has a 55.45 winning percentage. The second of the 3 premiership coaches is Adam Simpson. Compared to others, his apprenticeship was remarkably short. As soon as he retired from North Melbourne in 2009, he joined Clarkson at the Hawks and spent 4 seasons at the club. In 2013, he was assigned as the midfield and forward coach for the team that won that season's grand final. And just like that, he got the job at the West Coast Eagles. He was just 37 years old when he got announced as senior coach. We know he won the 2018 premiership, but his consistency has been great. 6 finals appearances during his tenure, and even with the disaster of the past few seasons, his win rate is just below 52%. There's a reason the Eagles board kept him as coach even through their heavy defeats. It's because he is a very good coach. The final of the premiership coaches is of course Damien Hardwick. He himself is creating his very own coaching web, which we will get to soon. Like Simpson, his time as an assistant was relatively short. He was with Clarkson between 2005 and 2009, entering the coaching field immediately after retiring. It's a little unknown, but he was a shortlisted candidate for the 2007 Melbourne job opening. At this time, he was just 35, so clearly clubs knew he had coaching talent. The Richmond job opened in the 2009 off-season and he was selected. It was a rough start, and I think in hindsight, a lot of Hardwick's development came on the job. He did get a little lucky keeping his role after the 2016 club review, but again, the Tigers must have kept him for a reason. Since this point, he's delivered 3 premierships and his overall win percentage is above 55%. He is looking to do the same thing with the Gold Coast Suns. So it's 3 elite AFL coaches who all spent time under Clarkson. There has to be a connection. Here is a photo with Clarkson and his right-hand man in Brisbane coach Chris Fagan. The two were stalwarts during the Hawthorn dominance of the mid-2010s. Fagan spent 8 years at Melbourne before transitioning to Hawthorn in 2008 as head of coaching and development. He served this role until 2013 when he was elevated to general manager of football. It's an interesting journey to senior coaching for Fagan. Unlike most, he only spent his early years as a traditional assistant, and I think it's why it was a surprise when he landed the job at the Lions in 2017. His background at Hawthorn is much more in a management space than a coaching one. But like the other coaches previously listed, his clear relationship building with players is a strength, and that development background has come through taking a young Brisbane side and turning them into a regular top 4 team. He has a 56.96 winning percentage and got them to the 2023 Grand Final. He isn't a premiership coach yet, but he has had a significant influence on the competition. A few other current and former coaches were also at the Hawks. Leon Cameron spent a couple years being a pivotal member in the 2012 AFL season before landing the handover gig at GWS. At the Giants, he led them to the 2019 Grand Final, winning 101 games as senior coach and finishing top 4 twice. He is now the general manager at the top of the ladder Sydney Swans. Brendan Bolton struggled at the Blues as senior coach, but he was with a rebuilding list. Like Fagan, he was another very close associate with Clarkson, with him from 2009 to the end of 2014. He is also Collingwood's football boss right now and was a key part of last year's premiership success. And the final one is Adam Uze. He is just starting his coaching journey now and spent a while with Simon Goodwin at Melbourne, but his start in 2012 as an assistant coach was with Hawthorn. He was there until 2020, and in his first year at Melbourne in 2021, they won that drought-breaking flag. It's 7 senior AFL coaches that have come from the Clarkson web. Not only this, but all of them have become elite AFL coaches or elite assistant and administrators at other clubs. I'm not sure any other coach in AFL history has been the centre point for so many others to develop. Clarkson is some type of an equivalent to a coaching master. Not only his record proves this, but all his understudies' records too. But the web might be extending even more. A sub-branch focuses on Damien Hardwick and his impact. It's clear to see in a couple of other AFL clubs and their approach to playing. The best starting point is Craig McRae. He spent 15 seasons through the assistant, development and VFL coaching ranks before getting the Pies job. He had 2 stints at Richmond, but will focus on his time there between 2017 and 2020. He not only was an assistant to Hardwick, but coached the Tigers' VFL sides, getting them to 2 grand finals, one in 2017 in which they lost, and another in 2019 in which they won. There is a clear stylistic similarity between the dynastic Richmond team and this current Collingwood one. It's all about high octane pressure, scoring off turnover, and having good two-way runners. Then we move to the GWS Giants. They almost beat Collingwood in last year's preliminary final and are once again one of the better teams in 2024. Their coach Adam Kingsley was also with Richmond for their 2019 and 2020 premiership wins. He definitely has the fire in the belly like Hardwick, but can no doubt connect well with his players. Their overall game style is very similar as well, with a bunch of strong interceptors and rebound defenders, paired with a whole bunch of high pressure small forwards. It's a copycat league, and these two sides have picked up where that Richmond team left off. Now this is only one part of the entire coaching web, but it is the most successful. The best coaches today can be tracked all the way back to that pivotal turning point when Alistair Clarkson joined Hawthorn. The funny thing is, Clarkson probably learnt how to coach off another very good senior coach that no one knows of. The web can go on forever, but for the modern era, the man in the middle is Clarko.